All right, everyone, welcome back. Ready for another deep dive?
Always.
Awesome. Today, we're looking at this YouTube channel, Hypnovibes. It's pretty wild stuff.
Yep.
They use hypnosis to explore, well, all sorts of mind-bending ideas.
Yeah, I've seen a few other videos. They're really tapping into something like maybe a deeper level of consciousness.
Right, like accessing some kind of universal knowledge.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so we're focusing on this one session with the hypnotist, Naomi, and her participant, Tina.
Okay.
And get this, Tina is guided to the year 2029.
2029.
Yeah, and she encounters this brand new island, just popped up off the coast of Mexico.
Ooh.
I know, right? It gets even crazier.
Okay, I am
So
listening.
this island has a population of like 700,000 people.
Wow. That's a lot of people.
Yeah, and the only way to get there is through this, well, a floating ship. It's like the entrance to the island.
A floating ship? What, like a spaceship or something?
Well, it's not exactly clear, but it definitely sounds like something out of this world. It's described as like hovering slightly above the ground with a metallic walkway that leads into the center.
So what happens? Tina goes inside.
Yeah, she steps inside, and it's full of these rows of transparent tubes. They're unbreakable, apparently.
Unbreakable.
Yeah, sounds like some pretty advanced tech, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But the real mind blower is she comes face to face with a gray alien.
A gray alien. What?
Yeah, and hold on, she recognizes it as Naomi, the hypnotist.
Wait. The hypnotist is a gray alien.
That's what it seems like.
So Naomi is a gray alien who just happens to be, I don't know, like walking around in a human body.
Yeah, and it kind of ties into some of Naomi's work outside of Hypnovibes.
Oh, yeah.
She actually wrote a book called The Next Level You.
The Next Level You. I've heard of that.
Yeah, and in it, she talks about hypno-channeling as a way to access this universal knowledge, right?
Right.
So maybe this whole gray alien thing is like an example of consciousness transfer.
Consciousness transfer.
Yeah, like maybe Naomi's human form is just temporary.
Interesting. Okay, so keep going. What happens with Tina and the alien?
Well, Tina actually learns that Naomi's energy is going to return to this gray alien form, but not until 2027.
2027, so a couple of years after this whole island thing.
Exactly. And it seems that this gray consciousness can actually inhabit other human bodies through those tubes.
Whoa. So it's not just about observing the future, it's about actively, shaping it.
That's what it seems like. Like maybe they're trying to influence decisions on Earth to, accelerate our progress or something.
Man, this raises so many questions. But before we get too lost in all that, what happens to Tina? Where does she go after this whole encounter?
Well, this is where it gets even wilder. After the island, she's transported to another planet. They call it a mirror planet, and it's unlike anything we can imagine.
Another planet? Seriously?
Yeah, no, right?
Okay, you got to tell me more about this mirror planet. A mirror planet, huh? Sounds kind of sci-fi.
I know, right? So what exactly did Tina experience on this planet? What's it like?
Well, it's described as a ring forest, whatever that means. But get this. The inhabitants there, they live in complete harmony with nature.
Harmony with nature. What does that even look like?
Well, they don't have houses or anything like that, and they don't farm for food. It's like they just exist in this perfect balance with the environment, taking what they need and giving back.
Sounds pretty idyllic.
Yeah, it really does. But, the really interesting part is it seems that individual memories and identity, like how we understand them, they're absent on this planet.
What? So they don't have, individual selves?
But really, no. But there's this overwhelming feeling of connection, of shared joy. It's as if they all experience themselves as part of this, collective consciousness.
Wow, that's a totally different way of thinking about existence. It kind of reminds me of, some Eastern philosophies where the idea of dissolving the ego is seen as, a path to enlightenment.
Yeah, exactly. And it all ties back to what Naomi writes about in The Next Level You,
Right.
About tapping into this higher level of consciousness where we transcend our individual limitations and connect to, a universal source of knowledge.
So maybe Tina's experience, even though it's filtered through her own subconscious and everything, maybe it's offering a glimpse into a potential future for humanity.
It's definitely a possibility. What if we evolve beyond our current understanding of self and embrace a more interconnected way of being?
That's a pretty wild thought. But okay, let's bring this back down to earth for a minute. Let's talk practical implications.
Okay.
So if this gray alien consciousness is, influencing decisions on Earth, what does it even look like? How would we even notice?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? If they're trying to accelerate our progress, what exactly does progress mean to them?
Right. Like, are they actually benevolent? Or do they have some other agenda? It's impossible to know for sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're just working with Tina's experience here. We can't, read the minds of gray aliens.
True, true. But I think we can use this as a starting point, right?
Right.
Like to think about the bigger picture, about consciousness and technology and, our place in the universe.
Absolutely. I mean, just think about all we've covered. Mysterious islands, advanced tech, consciousness transfer, a whole different model of existence. It's a lot to process.
It is. So what's the takeaway for our listener, you think? Like, what do we want them to walk away with after this deep dive?
That's a good question. I guess the biggest takeaway is that reality might be way more expansive, way more fluid than we realize.
Right.
Like Tina's journey, even if it's all symbolic, it opens up some really fascinating possibilities about the nature of consciousness, about our connection to something much larger than ourselves.
It really makes you realize how much we don't know about the universe. Like, who knows? Maybe someday we'll have the technology to experience these expanded states of consciousness ourselves.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would. But until then, I guess we'll have to keep exploring, keep questioning, keep diving deep.
Exactly. And speaking of exploring, we can't forget about Naomi Ju's work. Her book, The Next Level You, it really digs into these concepts. Definitely worth checking out for anyone who's intrigued by all this.
Yeah, great recommendation. But okay, before we wrap up, I think we should revisit that big question we were talking about earlier about, choosing to experience that harmonious existence on the mirror planet, but giving up our memories and our individual identities.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
It is. It really makes you think about what it means to be human, right?
Yeah, it really is a tough question. Like, on one hand, we value our individuality, our unique experiences, all the things that make us who we are. But then there's this part of us that, I don't know, kind of yearns for that unity, that connection to something bigger.
Right. And it's not like this harmonious existence is all about sacrifice. Like Tina described this overwhelming sense of joy. It wasn't about giving up happiness. It was like they tapped into something deeper. Yeah, exactly. Like a fulfillment that goes beyond, I don't know, individual achievement or recognition.
Exactly. Makes you wonder if maybe we've got things backward, like what if true fulfillment comes from aligning with like a larger purpose, a collective good, maybe.
That's a pretty big shift in thinking. It kind of challenges that whole, I don't know, that Western idea of the individual being at the center of everything.
It does, but think about it. What if letting go of the ego, of that separate self, actually opens us up to something way more profound, more lasting joy, deeper connection?
It's like, when you lose yourself in something bigger than yourself.
Yeah.
Whether it's art, music, nature, even spiritual practice. There's a kind of liberation in that surrender.
Exactly. And what if that feeling, that connection is actually like our natural state? What if that's what we're all ultimately striving for, even if we don't realize it?
Really makes you think about what we're chasing in our lives, huh?
Yeah.
Like, what if we're looking for happiness in all the wrong places?
Maybe. But I think the beauty of all this, of Tina's vision and exploring these concepts, is that it opens up possibilities. We can question our assumptions about, what it means to be human, what a fulfilling life looks like.
And even if it's just speculation, isn't it exciting to think about these things? Like, to imagine a future where we've moved beyond our current limitations and tapped into something, well, more.
Absolutely. And who knows, maybe that future isn't so far off. Maybe through practices like, I don't know, hypno-channeling, meditation, even just being more aware of our interconnectedness day to day, we can start to bridge that gap between the individual and the collective.
It's like an invitation to explore, to experiment, to push the boundaries of what we think we know. That's what this whole deep dive thing is about, right?
Yeah.
Taking our listeners on a journey, encouraging them to think critically, question assumptions, embrace the mystery.
Well said. And who knows, maybe we'll find that the answers we're looking for have been inside us all along.
Now, that's a thought. So, to all our listeners out there, keep diving deep. Explore these ideas, check out Naomi Hughes's work, and most importantly, keep asking questions. The journey never really ends, and you never know what incredible insights you might find along the way.
Thanks for joining us, everyone. It's been quite a journey.
Until next time, keep those minds open and stay curious.
So now, I'd like to take your conscious awareness to 2029, to that island, and where you see 700,000 people. And when I count to 3, you'll be there. 1, 2, 3. Yeah. So this island, you said, is close to Mexico?
Yes.
But this island is not here right now?
No.
So it's gonna appear at that time from nowhere?
Yeah, they're gonna make it.
So in a way, the island is created by the grays?
True.
Okay. So now there's something that, let's say, okay, among the 700,000 people, do you notice anyone that you know?
There's one of my friends.
Okay. And are you going to say something? Great.
She's kind of far. There's like a lot of people between us.
And people are not really talking. They're just waiting.
No, everybody's looking at the entrance of the ship.
So yeah, tell me about the look of the entrance. How you can get to the entrance? So the ship is on the ground.
It's floating a little bit above the ground. But then there's a walkway that people can just walk up into the center from below.
What's the walkway made of?
Some sort of metal material.
Okay. So now go to the moment when you're inside, and when you so you see a lot of tubes.
Yeah, on the two sides.
So the tube is like a transparent.
Yeah.
Is it glass or metal or plastic?
It's transparent, but it's made out of a special kind of
material.
Unbreakable.
I see. So now when you recognize the gray who is Naomi's energy, can you ask the gray that so this person that you know as Naomi was gray and just transformed the body to human as Naomi? Can you ask?
Yeah, you're here to help and to stay here temporarily.
To stay here what?
Temporarily.
Temporarily. Very good. So what happened? How this body as a Naomi transformed back to the grave?
In 2027, you return first back to them and become one of them. That's your time.
I see. So yeah, so I stay most of the time in the ship where I'll be on Earth doing certain things.
Well, after you transform, quote unquote, back into a gray, it's still very easy for you to be in the human body again. And then come down.
But as this person, Naomi, she knows or she does not know?
You don't go back into Naomi's body again.
I do or I don't?
You don't. It seems like you can go into other people's body.
How does that work?
Also by going to the tube.
Go into other people's body? For what reason?
To do various decisions to help Earth. To make various decisions that needs to be made.
But can you give me an example?
For example, you can go into a leader's body.
Let's say the government official.
Yeah.
So to go to the tube first?
Yeah. Then your body's still there.
My body is still where? In the tube?
Yeah.
Go to the tube, and then how can I go to, let's say, someone's body?
Just your consciousness.
And so I can influence that person's way of thinking?
Yeah, just to make things faster. It's going too slow. We need to speed up the process.
I see. So I always have to go to the tube first in order to go to other people's consciousness?
Right.
Interesting. So I want to know, so this person, Yexin, so she does anything like that?
She'll be on another planet.
Right. Is that the mirror planet or other anything?
Yeah, she will go there first temporarily and then go somewhere else again.
So how does that work? How can you be on that planet as a physical body, but you can also transform?
No, the soul still has its own free will. When it wants to leave, it just leaves. Yeah. It's not like Earth where you have to die first and then you leave.
So everyone can do that there.
Yeah, it's so free. Yeah.
So tell me a little bit more about this I think it's AOYAO planet.
Right.
So what is life like?
It's like rainforest. And yeah, people live very like basic, like just
people still do need to no food is needed.
no, they like it's like a cycle. Or no, it's like people like pick berries, something like that. Like they eat from like you just live by the nature. It's like you guys. It's like all of us are coexisting mutually.
So
it's like a mutual benefit.
So they build small houses.
Oh no! We just sleep in nature. No houses.
No houses.
No.
I see. So when people are, let's say, right there, and they don't recognize each other, or they have some sort of memory?
No, there's no need to.
Yeah. So nobody knows anyone, but they treat each other as a family?
They know. They're familiar with each other.
Yeah. So no one will have the question like, who am I? Why I'm here?
Not really. Although they're not their higher selves in this body, they don't have any constraints like on Earth, so they get to live freely and be themselves, and that's what they're here for.
I see. So, yeah, there's very peaceful life and harmony and joy.
Right, yeah.
Everyone feels those without any negative emotions.
Yeah, no artificial things here.
I see. Very good.